Hi there, welcome to another painting tutorial. In this video we're going to paint a hummingbird. Let's start with our fine mister spray. Put a couple sprays. That's just going to help the paint run a little bit better. So you can download this sketch linked in the description to get started. And let's use a size 0 spotter and put in the black of the eye of the bird. So I just have a nice rich black color. And let's carefully put in that eye. And then we can let that dry. While that's drying, let's put in some of the darker values. Let's take some of this Vandyke Brown. And I want to just put kind of a shadow color underneath the beak. So we'll just carefully pop that in. Okay, and now let's get a larger brush. We can use a size 6 filbert. And let's think about our darker values, what color we want to use for our darks. And I have this nice teal color. Mix it with a little bit of green. These are just some colors that I have left on my palette. I'm going to take a little bit of a Payne's gray and see if we can mix that into a dark teal shade. That could be a nice shadow color. And then let's pop that in over the head, just kind of putting it in some areas where the shadow might be, just to give that bird a three-dimensional form. And that water is really helping me get a nice smooth application of the paint. And now let's use the edge of the brush and see if we can put in some of these lines where the tail feathers are. And then I'm gonna just continue with some shadow. I need a little bit of a darker value, so just added a little more Payne's gray. And I'm just kind of going around the sketch area. Maybe I'll take a little bit more Payne's gray to get a little bit darker color, because I really want to define these shadows here. And just kind of outlining a little bit. Okay, now I can think about the lighter values here. So along the tips of the wing, we have a really bright, rich, beautiful red color. So I have this orangey red shade. It's kind of like a vermilion red. And I'm gonna put that in here on the tips of the wings. Just a really light layer. And that white is showing through. The white of the paper is really showing through and allowing us to have a really nice glowing effect of that bright, beautiful red. And then it kind of blends into the wings off to the side here. And then I could put some of this red. I want to put some under the neck of the bird. These hummingbirds, they have like a red throat almost. So I'm going to let that dry a little bit. Now we could do kind of a mid-tone color. So I have some of this green, which is like a foresty green. And let's see how that looks on the bird. It's a pretty shade of green. So this is a nice green to use for like a mid-tone color. We'll put some of it in the tail. And the filbert is great for painting feathers. You can use the round tip of the brush to just press down and it'll give you the shape of a feather. So the brush really helps you do the work there. And let's try this. I have a mossy green color on my palette. Let's see if we could do that for the middle of the bird. And I want the belly to kind of show up a little bit three-dimensional, kind of make almost like a pot belly shape. So let's see if we could add a highlight here, maybe add a little bit of titanium white into some of this pastel yellow and see if that could give us a nice highlight for the middle. Maybe a little bit more white. Okay, so that looks good. Let's bring in this green around the face. So we'll carefully put in the moss green. Okay. Now I might just kind of go back and put in this green in some areas that have not been covered with paint, just some areas that are white. Just go ahead and put that in. So think about your colors and your contrasting colors and how layers on top of layers might mix together. So the green and the red, they're opposites. So if I put the green on top of the red, it could kind of get brown or muddy. So I want to be careful that I don't cover the parts of the red that I want to remain like very rich. Okay, so for that beak, let's see what kind of color we could do for that. Maybe let's try a burnt sienna, and I have my 0 spotter. Let's see if we can carefully put that along the beak, kind of on the top. Okay, so that looks nice. We could add a highlight on top of that with a little bit of white. So I actually will probably have to let that dry before we do that. Let's try with the eye. So we'll take some of this titanium white on that tip of this brush and very carefully put in a little highlight for the eye. Okay, and then I can go back and maybe put an eyelid in there. Let's try, we could do some of this foresty green shade and see if we can put an eyelid. I'm just doing a curved C shape right on top of that eye. And then I'll do the same on the bottom. Okay, and that gives it a pretty realistic look. We could take some white, some titanium white, and do kind of another little C shape to make that eyelid look a little more three-dimensional. Okay, and then I'm going to switch back to that 6 filbert. And why don't we take some of this white and mix it with a little bit of the pastel yellow and see if we can kind of feather, do kind of some feathering along the body here. And then do that with the tail feathers. And then let's go back with the darker value, switch back to a darker teal, and just add a little bit of a darker shadow back in. Just kind of dancing with these shadows. And then kind of blend with your brush. And let's take that 0 spotter and put in a little bit of the feet of the bird. So I could take some titanium white, mix it with a little bit of that Payne's gray, then see if I can carefully just put in some little claw shapes for the feet. And then let's clean up that edge a little bit. So this edge along the body, just gonna clean it up. Then let that dry. Okay, so I think, let's see, what do we need here? We could add a little more detail. Let's take some of this pale yellow and add it to this back wing here. Maybe we'll add some over to this wing. Just kind of adding another layer. Let's take some of that teal and put another layer over the head. And do the same up here on this wing. Maybe kind of blend that in a little bit better. Just blend it in softly. Take a damp brush and then blend. Let's maybe take more of the red paint and add a little bit more to the wings up here. And I might do another little bit underneath the chin. You can kind of see what I was talking about with the teal and the red making a dark shade. Okay, so let's take a little bit of a white paint and see if we can put some highlights along these wings. Just kind of make it pop. Might do that to the bottom. Just kind of get some popping feathers. I'm going to take a little bit of titanium white and add, kind of go over that eyelid again. And you can see it's really getting darker when it dries. That white is, so it's okay if it sticks out a little too much to start with. And let's put a little bit on this beak. I just want to try to get a highlight on there just to make that beak look more three-dimensional. And then I might have to go back with that Payne's gray and then put a little bit, carefully put some underneath that beak as well to give a little bit of a shadow. Okay, so something you could do is we can take some of this white again and mix it with a little bit of yellow, and you could kind of try to make some feather shapes. So you have this size 0 spotter, and you could just add a little bit of a texture that way. Put it around that darker teal. It's gonna kind of stand out. Okay. So let's put a little bit of a darker value here. So I'm just kind of looking at it and saying, you know, where do I need to add a little more definition? And come in with those darker values just to make things pop a little bit more in certain areas. And then try to blend them as well. And you might need to introduce some more color, maybe some yellow. Could put like, I have this lemon yellow. Let's see if we can add that and kind of, I think that will add a little bit more dimension here. Can put it around the face. Yeah, so I think that yellow helps to brighten things up. Okay, so I think we'll call this painting done. This is just kind of a quick, easy, fun little hummingbird painting. So I hope you give this a try. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe for more painting tutorials, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.